Hey all, hey all, hey all. Welcome to the biggest happy hour in half an hour. I'm your host, Paul Robertson. And yeah, it's not Thursday. I'm probably throwing you guys off a little bit. I know. And I'm probably looking a little different too. Got the spectacles on and the ball cap. But hopefully, yeah, you didn't come here to see what I look like. I don't think anyone's really here to see what I look like. So, yeah. So welcome to Friday night. Yeah. So we're back on one of our original nights that we had. We were doing the show here, so definitely thanks for tuning in. I know usually Friday nights were tough, and that's kind of why we moved it from Fridays to Thursday, only because most people had things going on Friday nights. It's a busy the start of the weekend and so forth. But we were going to do it last night, but I would have gotten in a lot of trouble if I didn't pick up my wife at the airport last night. So it would have been a lot of yeah, I probably wouldn't have been doing the show, I guess. So anyway, so yeah, so but thanks for tuning in and hanging out here. So let's see who we got here in the chats here. So we've got Sean. How you doing, Sean? So big applause for Sean. Sean is a big rummer. So if you're here in the chats hanging out, ask him some questions as well for rum, some of his rum selections. He actually says he is sipping on a rum with a View X this evening. All right, so 1 ounce rum agricole, 1 ounce cognac. Wow, okay, we're already off to a quarter ounce of Jamaican rum. Holy cow, dude. And 4 ounces or 4 dashes of Peychaud's bitters and 1 dash of Angostura. Whoa. That is yeah, that's a definitely yes, that's a A plus there. So definitely I'll have to check that out. We'll have to hit you up later. Is that particularly from any one book, Sean, or is this kind of your own concoction that you came up with? Or tell us more about it here in the chat here. So again, if you're just tuning in, thanks you for I know it's Friday and it's not Thursday like we normally do it, but like I said, we had to kind of change some things up here. It's going to get that time of the year here towards the end of the year where schedules and stuff are going to get a little busy, the holidays, travel, and so we may be changing some things around. Just again, as long as you follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell on these videos, you'll know when it's time to come on in, and that's the biggest thing is about being notified. So, all right. So he said, "Good stuff." Okay, well, I'll take your word for it. So I haven't tried it, so I take your word for it. I would assume that you wouldn't lie about that, right? So this is some serious stuff that you would be definitely uh, making sure we're doing here. So, all right, so yeah, so real quick, again, we got a lot of stuff to cover here in our 30 minutes, as we always say, is the biggest happy hour in a half an hour. We get you in and out most of the time, and this time, what we had is this past weekend. If you follow us over on the other social media stuff, Instagram, etc., you probably saw that I attended the Miami Rum Renaissance Festival last weekend, and that was a 2-day event. I haven't posted really any review stuff yet for it just yet, but it was a 2-day event. And if you come hang out there down in Miami, I think it was like 40 or 50 bucks, 60 bucks. And it was, I think, for each day. So for day one, they had the West West Indies Rum Distillery there, and they're like one of the oldest on the island there in Barbados. They make plantation. They make a new one on Stades rum. So they're totally awesome people. Just they're sharing this information about them. The molasses they use. Of course, there was tasting. Of course, we got to sample a whole bunch of rum, and it was just very educational. So day one was definitely for maybe more the rum nerds who want to kind of learn and ask some of these real questions, learn about the different stills, about the different techniques, or all that kind of stuff, the aging process, and they're very open. They're of course invited everybody down to Barbados, so they do tours of the distillery there in Barbados, and so that was a great first day. Second day also was the actual exhibit day, the full grand tasting day. All the different brands that come in, the different, some local brands, some larger brands, some, as far away as Oregon. So big shout out there to John from Just Rum there. He traveled on down from Oregon again this year. And, yeah, I think I don't know if he's in the chats or not, but he definitely had a great trip on this one. Got a chance to talk to a lot of people, and again, it's all about this is the beautiful thing about the rum community here. So we're going to talk a little bit more about John and just rum here in a minute. And I've got uh, a funny story about rum being a rum mule. So we'll talk about that in a second here. So let's see. All right. So Sean said, I found it online. Can't remember who created it. It's a I can't even say that. Vuex Curry Riff. Okay. So yeah. So Sean's making some cocktails tonight and hanging out. So hopefully, you know, he's drinking responsible. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. Right. So yeah. So that was the Miami Rum Festival, 2-day event. So big thanks to the Burrs, Robin, Rob Jr., and everybody who put that event on. And again, I know it's not easy to pull all those things together. And again, just get a chance to see a lot of people. We also had a chance to most of us that we jokingly have been referred to, and I don't know if maybe it's been taken a little serious now. We've been jokingly referring to ourselves as it's so pompous, the Rum Posse. So the Rum Posse is a few of us who've you know who've started supporting each other, who've been on each other's shows or reviews together, and every one of them has been on the podcast. No, I take that back. Almost everybody, but they've at least been part of the Drums and Rums community that we've got going on here. So you've got Nia from My Rum Diaries. So you know Nia, or most of you should. You got Roger and Robert from Just Drinking. They've got a YouTube channel also, and every Wednesday night they do a live show. They do reviews every week, and you've got also Jami from Ready Set Rum, and I'm sure you probably know Jami, and he's got a lot of reviews also. And Rushan, who does you'll probably see Rushan with Jami a lot of times in his videos, so he's also part of that rum posse. And then uh, Jason, he's probably been in the chat a couple times here. Who, if you've been here on the regularly on the show, Jason is the River Pirate 13, and he's also part of it. And then lastly, of course, myself, right? So again, we just affectionately started calling ourselves a rum posse, and then so obviously most of the rum posse lives here in Florida, so we see each other probably more often at different events, part of maybe some Florida Rum Society events, uh, or a couple of us live here in South Florida, but then obviously Roger and Robert, if you know those guys, they're up in Iowa. You want to talk about a rum desert area? They still are able to get rum, so kudos to those. But yeah, so they actually traveled down. They got a chance actually finally to meet. I know they've been big, fans of Just Rum, really bad rum, and they actually got a chance to meet Doc Brown. You know Doc Brown. He's been on the happy hour also a couple times. John Hasbrook from Just Rum. They finally got a chance to meet John, even though they know each other really well, but just never had met. And then of course the rest of us here in the posse. So again, great weekend. And then on top of it, prior to all that whole week leading up to it, we had a hurricane here in Florida, right? So that's the kind of shit we got to deal with here. You live in paradise. Is sometimes it may actually have a hurricane, but it always will be cold, probably wherever you may be listening from if you don't live here in Florida. So let's see. What did Sean say here? Vu Carre is how it's pronounced. New Orleans style drink. Okay, Vu Carre. Okay, oui. I'll take your word for it. All right. Anyway, so yeah, so that was the biggest happier. So we also met a few things. I also bought. Hopefully, if you saw the Instagram post there, I talked about asking how many bottles you thought I actually brought home. Actually, it was good. I didn't go crazy. I didn't buy a whole lot. Actually, quite a few things actually were, uh, we'll just say is provided to me, I guess. We also did take it. We also got a chance to tape an episode last week, or on the Sunday morning before the second day opened up in the exhibit hall, with a new upcoming company here. It's the rum is made in Panama, and we'll talk a little bit more about them in a second. But we'll go through real quick and some of these things that we brought home with us, and we're gonna go right into it. So let's see. So let's where do I want to start off? All right. Well, anyway, so I'll start off with these guys here. These guys are called Rum Rats. So they are the guys that we talked to on the podcast. Again, it was a last minute podcast taping an opportunity, and they are based out of Canada, and but their rum is made in Panama. It is based in the Arco Seco area there in Panama, and so it says where the warm Caribbean air meets the cool Pacific breeze. That's almost like where the back beach meets the spirits. And so yeah, we got a little sample of it. It was really good. This is a 43% alcohol by volume, and so that puts you right up about 86. So not too bad. And it's a bourbon aged barrel. It looks like right now it's only available in Canada, and of course, like a lot of them, you've got to go through the distributing and getting your foot in the door and so forth. And um, wouldn't real. Let's see if the camera can actually pick it up. But so inside the bottle, and it's like I've seen a couple other companies do this, and it's actually kind of neat. Is the inside label is the map of where this area is made. So and so they also worked on this product here that they made working with um, Don Pancho and Don Carlos. But anyway, Don Pancho, the Don Pancho that most people know of, and actually, I actually got my picture taken with Don Pancho, and I'm hopefully maybe I can get him on the podcast. It'd be great to actually talk about rum history, right? And so that was the rum rats again. They're trying to they're taking everything, jumping in there, and trying to have a good time, have some fun, and they've got some pretty good product here. Um, and this is actually one of the shirts, and of course, you got to once you see the shirt, you kind of it's all about having fun, right, and being a little don't take yourself too seriously. So here, there's a shirt here. They're the the making a rat sim. I don't know with your hands, and then the back of the shirt is this. Young, dumb, and full of rum. That's gonna have a lot of people looking at that, I'm sure. It's just as much as my only fan shirts that I have. So, all right. So next up, we had also as we talked about just rum stopped by, and so we have some bottles that are labeled. So this is the Uncle John's cut. It's 122 proof. There, it's always nice that when people don't. It's like if you ever go to conventions and people don't want to carry their stuff home. This is great about a rum festival. People don't want to carry their bottles home with them, or what are they? All right. Hopefully, you gotta love it when the internet goes out. So hopefully everyone gets a chance to join me here. So we'll talk about some of the stuff again here in a moment. All right. All right. So again, we're back. Don't know what happened with the internet. The internet went down and is still down apparently, but what the hell happens on a Friday night, right? Anyway, so good thing for cell phone hotspots that help you out. So we're running right now, probably burning up my data plan on my phone. But anyway, so yeah, so kind of a little bit like I said here about just rum here. So they John had a lot of these other bottles that he brought with him. Yeah, so we have different casks, different strength. We have a queen's share. So we've got different. So it's really nice to get a whole bunch of rum here, and just hand it to you. So again, thank you, John. But what was really beautiful was here. Let me reshuffle some bottles here on the bar. Was this now? This this was a great presentation here. So really kudos to John. Yeah, again, he's only been doing this for a few years, but he's really passionate about that. So this is the Just Rum. This is the aged 3 years in a maple wood barrels, And just again, just look at the box here. Really nice packaging. Again, if you're really, I you know, I know sometimes it isn't always what the judge a book by its cover, but there is something that if people are going to pay a price for something, they do actually want, especially for the collectors. They want it look nice on the shelf. Do they want something looking nice up on their bar, right? So yeah, there's some of it because again, you're going to put some of these things up on your on display. Also, so and it comes in a little burlap sack, and it's got a little bit of logo there on the sack there. I think he said he's going to do a little bit of tweaking on that, and then the actual bottle itself, the new challenge coins for this year. He's got there. So look at that. I mean, look at that color on that there. That is some beautiful color. So I'm not even sure if I even want to open it yet. So, um, but anyway, so it's a single pot, 3 years, toasted hard maple staves is what they made this with. So yeah, so kudos to John. I'm hey, this is your dream, man, your passion, and I'm glad I've actually have met you. And so again, if you know John, we actually have something coming up here. I don't want to share it just yet, but something actually pretty cool with Just Rum soon. So hopefully soon I'll be able to start sharing some things about some little collaboration we're going to do with Just Rum and another one of our Drums and Rums alums. So anyway, stay tuned. Let's see. So that's all the bottles here. We talked about those guys. One I forgot actually to even include in my post the other day on Instagram was Maggie's Farm white rum here. So this is I guess there was a tradition at the after the rum tasting on a Sunday night. There's a little hotel across the street, which I'm not going to get into about that, but and so usually it's a bring everyone brings a little bottle, everyone has a little sample, everyone shares a little bit, and so it's kind of cool. It's a little social event outside of the rum tasting thing, and so this was what somebody brought, and I said, "Oh, I haven't had Maggie's rum before. This is the first time." So there it is. They said, "Here, go ahead and take the bottle home." And again, that's kind of thing, right? That's really cool where people just say, "Here, take this bottle and, take it home with you." Right? Definitely sharing. Sharing is caring, especially in the rum community here. All right. So Sean's asking, what was the biggest surprise rum I tried? All right. Let me see here. Let me try to think through some of these ones I tried. Um, I don't know. Oh, Don Poncho has a new offering coming out here. A I think in January it's gonna be released, and they had some obviously at the event, and that was some really good stuff. I know he makes a lot of rum, like, as I mentioned, the Rum Rats, he makes a lot of rum for other companies, and, but of course, he's probably his stuff that he's making is probably, I would assume a little bit better or whatever. Yeah, so I think it's the Don Pancho stuff. That was some pretty surprise. Again, I had already had a little bit of the sampling the previous night with the Just Rum, so some of that stuff is like really, really coming along nice. And yeah, I'm just trying to think what else. Again, I was didn't hit everything. Oh, that's what it was. It was a lemon heart. Yeah, they also have an opportunity to, again, for a few bucks, actually sample stuff that's in Rob Burr's private collection. And so actually I said, all right, well, let me try something I probably will never ever get my hands on myself. But yeah, so I tried the lemon heart too. So that was kind of a nice little treat. So anyway, so that was a rum festival. I know we talked a lot about the rum stuff. So let's get to all the other things that we got going on here. Again, we had a great podcast here. This dropped this Tuesday. And I know it was a little tough during the hurricanes last couple months where we've trying to get off schedule a little bit. But it was Tuesday was National Drummer Day. So we actually had our guest on, local South Florida drummer, percussionist, Evan Kline. Him and I we've passed emails and chats back and forth for over at least over a year, just trying to line up some stuff. He's busy, he's gigging, doing his shows and so forth. And so yeah, we did a Zoom. So hopefully you check out the video that we posted the other night. We actually just put the video out there. It's raw taping of the podcast. We also did our Podcast dropped on Tuesday. Like I said, go give it a listen. It was a pretty fun interview. He actually, we're probably close to the same age. We talked a little bit about South Florida. He did have he did have a story about Marilyn Manson, and which interesting because obviously the time frame that we were talking about was right up and lined up when before Marilyn Manson made it big. And yeah, so definitely check out that episode with Evan. And then we got a next one coming up here is the Rum Rats episode here with Steven and Seamus of Rum Rats. So again, that was taped on the Sunday at the hotel, their hotel. Again, that's kind of how sometimes I'll roll. I'll just bring my equipment with me, and because you never know when you may want to tape something, or you run into somebody and have an interview. So that was the podcast we could coming on. Just trying to finish up the year strong here. We got now really what's a big one here so I'm glad for those of you who are listening and hanging out here tonight. Next Tuesday, again, we're shifting the dates again on our happy hour because of obviously Thanksgiving is the holiday. I'll probably get in a lot of trouble to do the happy hour on a Thursday night. And then Wednesday, I was going to move it Wednesday, and then, a couple other shows do their live stuff, which I said, now forget that. And then so I moved it up to Tuesday. And next Tuesdays, or the next biggest happy hour and a half an hour, is going to be on Tuesday, same time, 8 p.m. And what we have is our alum, Matt Petrick, the Cocktail Wonk, back on with us. He did a podcast, but he hasn't actually been on the happy hour yet. And I asked him, I said, let's do something where we're making drinks. So we're going to part of that episode with Matt. Matt's going to talk about his drink, the minimalist tiki, and I can't even say it. And so it's a book full of all this sorts of different recipes and so forth. But he also just dropped a new book. It's like a 800-page book. Let me see here. Yeah, okay. It's called Modern Caribbean Rum, and this is, like I said, it's an 800-page book. It is probably the most comprehensive. What I've seen people's comments already about it, the most comprehensive book about Caribbean rums that's out there. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, his book there. But this minimalist tiki cocktail book here that he put out there first, we're going to make a drink from there. And so definitely join along. So definitely tune in. And also, would it be great? We are also bringing our bingo night back. So I know that was a big hit. A couple months ago, we did bingo for the Ringo Bingo for our Ringo Starr episode, but we're bringing bingo back. We're bringing bingo back. Yeah. And we've got a pretty good prize on, we got some other prizes too, but the big grand prize, I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it just yet. We're going to give away one of those books. Okay. So if you really are into cocktails, you're into tiki and things like that or whatnot, you definitely don't want to miss this happy hour next Tuesday. Okay. So definitely tune in. Tell your friends. Well, I guess if you don't want to tell your friends, because if you'd be like the only one to win the lottery or something. But yeah, definitely tune in. It's going to be a great night. We're going to make some tiki cocktails. So I already know what we're going to make. So I've got to go get my ingredients to prep. And yeah, we're just going to have a great night. We're going to have a great lead into Thanksgiving and the holidays. Hopefully everyone's having a great time with the family and so forth. So definitely don't miss next Tuesday night now. So just make sure you're hitting the subscribe. And yeah, if you're listening in the chat, make sure you hit the subscribe buttons, notify buttons, just so you don't miss any of that stuff. So, all right. So those are all the drinks here. We got some other stuff we'll give away here. We got some other things, some cocktail shakers here, Tandway. They've got some stuff. So again, I think a lot of people everyone always likes to win stuff, right? Anyway, so I think I hit all those things. And now let's get to our segments that we normally get to here. And I've totally forgot about this one here. We haven't done this one in a while. Here's our What the Florida segment here. For those of you who are hanging out, your regulars know exactly what this is about. So here we go. This is our What the Florida segment. All right. So our What the Florida question of the night is, if you could sing a duet with anyone, who would it be? If you could sing a duet with anyone, who would it be with? Who would it be? I guess who would you want to do a duet with? All right, so trying to see Focus. All right, so there's our question right there. So we'll ask a couple more times, see what your response is. I'm sure it'd be fun. Because again, I love doing karaoke because I'm terrible at it and I don't take it serious. But again, it's all about having fun and just doing having a good time there. So I won't say if anyone's in the chat there who knows what I'm talking about as far as the karaoke incident of 2016. So anyway, all right. So then we're gonna just jump now into our next segment here is what we all love to find out who we got going on here. And obviously, this tonight's episode is called "What Would Bubba Gump Have to Say About That?" Well, I'm gonna tell you. All right. So we have a gentleman here, and our gentleman, Florida man, arrested after stealing 85 pounds of shrimp. Deputies say. Deputies in the Florida Keys put a man behind bars Sunday after they say he stole 85 pounds of shrimp and other items from a storage facility. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office said at around 10 a.m., the owner of the facility contacted the authorities and after he noticed that the lock had been broken off. Deputies said 85 pounds of shrimp, a Garmin GPS unit, an air pump, and an engine part had been stolen from the facility. After reviewing the security footage, deputies identified the alleged shrimp thief as Felipe Fonseca, 52 of Stock Island. According to the sheriff's office, Fonseca had previous encounters with law enforcement. He was found shortly after the theft and booked into jail on charges of burglary, larceny, possession of burglary tools, and damage to property. So there you go, man. 85 pounds of shrimp. That is a lot of shrimp. I'm sure I'm sure Bubba Gump definitely would have a whole lot of different recipes to have with that. So let's go grant our Florida Man of the Week here. Let's see. All right. Here's to Philippe. They have his name right there. Fonseca. I know his last name. I got it right. Yeah, Felipe Fonseca. Here you go. Welcome. Congrats. You are our Florida Man of the Week. So yes, so cheers to you. Hopefully that shrimp was worth it. It's probably as getting as bad as stealing copper. I'm sure shrimp, everything's prices going up on everything. So I'm sure that's probably a big part of it. So yeah, so there's our Florida Man of the Week, stealing shrimp, and yeah, you never know down there in the Keys, right? So breaking into stuff. So again, that's the story. The headline I thought that the headline was funny is when I was looking at what was our stories. This is Florida man arrested after stealing 85 pounds of shrimp. That's a lot of scrimp. So anyway, so hopefully the authorities take care of what they need to take care of and go from there. So yeah, so like I said, a lot going on here. Want to kind of make sure I give some big shout outs here before I forget. We wrap the show up here and make sure I put our certain plugs in, and let's go there to our plugs here. Sign into YouTube. Great. All right, so let me sign into YouTube first here. Our uh, apparently our thing timed out, and let's see if I actually remember the password. To keep yourself safe, open the YouTube app on your iPhone. Hold on. Let me open up my YouTube app. And here we go. Yes, that is me. Okay. Okay. Hopefully, I think we're back, right? Would you like to be most? Okay. Let's see if we're back now. Okay. So, holy cow. Man, how many times do I have to tell this thing? Jeez Louise, bro. Okay. Well, I'm not quite sure what's. I think we're back. I'm not sure what's going on now. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, so there's our Florida Man of the Week. So yeah, let me get to our shameless plugs here and plug it all in there. So again, first up there, the Rum Posse, like I said, My Rum Diaries, Nia from My Rum Diaries, Johnny from Ready Set Rum, the River Pirate 13, um, Roger and Robert of Just Drinking, and Rashawn also. So definitely go check out there, follow them again if you want to follow some rum stories, rum reviews, rum shenanigans. Definitely go check them out. They're all part of our rum posse. We started up that, like I said, that Instagram account there, and we start posting stuff specifically just about us together. And yeah, also don't forget to check out the Jams and Cocktails. Uh, or Jams and Coffee first. We'll talk about that. Jams and Coffee every morning at 8 a.m. Hang out with Brad Brock in the morning there, our good friend, part of our podcast network. And also every Wednesday night, Jams and Cocktails at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. They've got their podcast format there with Brad and his crew hanging out there. All sorts of fun, different stories, shenanigans, games. So definitely it's a good time to hang out on a Wednesday night. You know, what else are you going to do on a Wednesday night, right? Is just hanging out there and watch those guys, and again, and also in the morning too. So again, support all of our friends and those who support us. Big community here, and also don't want to forget too. We have a couple of things here. Check out tomorrow night our podcast alum Jamie Bennett, aka Chun Jay of Royal Ruckus. He's dropping a new. So Royal Ruckus is dropping a new song and video release tomorrow night. It's called Recording in Progress. So that is the name of the new tune. So definitely check that out. Stop over there on YouTube. I think I shared it to our Facebook group. But yeah, check it out. Support them too. Again, I think if you listen to the podcast, we did have them have a guest spot there a couple weeks ago. They filled in and ran one of their episodes in our on our show, and it received very well. It was a lot of good listeners and so forth. So again, if you like the Jamie and Nomadic Vagabond the podcast, so we're definitely looking to support them and vice versa, and maybe do some more with them too. So check them out. Check out them there. I think Jamie said he's been doing. They started Royal Ruckus, and he talks about this in the podcast, like when he was in high school or when they were in school. They're still in school, you know. Again, very Royal Ruckus started out as a Christian rap band, kids from California, and I think he said they've been doing it for over 20 something years. And when the first single was, so I guess tomorrow is the 20th anniversary of, I think, their first release. So definitely check it out there. Again, support those who support us, and go forward. So again, I think that's kind of it. Like I said, tonight was a little quick, just quick catch up here on some stuff, a quick hangout. I know we were off on our evenings here, like we normally have on our Thursday night, right? Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say there. It's like what night of the week, or what night of the week we normally doing this? But yeah, every Thursday night or so. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in there. I know thanks to Sean for holding down the chats there. So big shout out for Sean. Again, you want to check out more. He's got some really great reviews. Obviously, you just explained about one of the recipes or cocktails he made tonight, and we may have to check that recipe out also too. So, and also for Charlene checking in there too. So hopefully, if I didn't miss anybody, maybe keeping the chats on the down low. Definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in there. Thanks for hanging out while the internet decided to take a crap, and we were able to pick the ball back up and run with it, and tuning in. So this is Paul, and yeah, if you tell me who would you want to do a duet if you had to do karaoke? Who would you do duets with? All right, so I want to hear you want to do a duet. Go post it over in the Facebook group, the Drums and Rums Facebook group. I'd love to learn who actually who you would actually want to sing a song with. Is it maybe me? Is it maybe your spouse or your significant other? I don't know, right? So I'd be interested to find out. Does anybody actually do karaoke? Love to learn about that. That'd be really interesting to find out if anybody does karaoke here in the chats. So it looks like everyone said in the poll there that I guess I did not drink enough rum, so I appreciate that you didn't look like I was too much of a lush maybe. So, so I guess nobody thought I drank too much rum. So, but anyway, so that's all I think we've got going on here in the old YouTubes. And again, I appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. And definitely, like I said, stay tuned for next Tuesday. The happy hour is going to be on Tuesday night next week. We've got the cocktail wonk, Matt Petrick, on, and we're going to be making some cocktails from his book, The Minimalist Tiki, as well as giving a copy of that book away. We're doing bingo that night, so it's going to be pretty busy. So we're definitely going overtime. I know tonight it looks like we're definitely overtime also, but definitely next week will be next week's show will definitely be overtime. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Sean, for tuning in there, hanging out there, Charlene, and I'll chat with you all next Tuesday night, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks all.